Listo.
¿Listo? Ok. Hola, buenas tardes. Muchas gracias por vernos el día de hoy. El día de hoy tenemos al profesor Jay John y estamos muy contentos de tenerlo el día de hoy. Voy a hacer una breve introducción de él. Jay es profesor asistente en el Departamento de Diseño y Análisis Ambiental de la Universidad de Cornell, donde dirige el Meta Design and Technology Lab. John investiga cómo los productos pueden diseñarse sistemáticamente para enriquecer las experiencias momentáneas y a largo plazo de los usuarios por medio de las emociones, basándose en el conocimiento y los métodos del diseño centrado en el humano, la psicología positiva y la tecnología persuasiva. Sus hallazgos de investigación y soporte de diseño, es decir, métodos y herramientas de diseño, se han aplicado y mejorado iterativamente a través de varios proyectos de la industria que cubrieron múltiples contextos de diseño y dominios comerciales. Me gustaría resaltar que Jay tiene una trayectoria académica que involucra 3 continentes. En Seúl, en Delft, en Holanda, y actualmente está en Nueva York, en el estado de Nueva York. Entonces, bueno, Jay, thank you very much for being with us. We are really happy to have you here in this event that we are organizing at the National University of Mexico. So I would like to know if you know something about UNAM.
By accident or by coincidence, it was my intention, but I had a chance to look at the beautiful campus of UNAM, but when I was watching a documentary film on the history of Mexico. So I could see beautiful murals and beautiful sport stadium and lots of amazing facilities there. So, and I heard the size was just unbelievable. So it's like it's comparable to a city in my view. So I wish I could be there, and I hope we could make some opportunities to actually be there in person and do something exciting together.
Yes, so we should plan something together now that we are also not that far. I mean, you are in the US, we're in Mexico, and it's quite easy to travel from there to here.
Yeah, so I really look forward to that.
Good. And well, to start this conversation, I would like to know if you can let us know how design is seen at your university, at Cornell University.
Well, that is a really difficult question. So I'm not, my view may not fully represent the view of the university. So I'm going to just talk about my observation and my personal experience, my personal interpretation. So here, design is seen as a facilitator of the communication between technological possibilities and human needs. So how these two could match together in a relevant way. So design has achieved broad acceptance and also popularity as one of the driving force of innovation in this university. And one interesting fact is that across many departments, there are many design education and research programs. So one thing that I could notice was there are over 10 different courses, or I just say that 10 different departments within the university teaching design. So I'm part of the Department of Human-Centered Design, but design is also being taught in mechanical engineering, information science, or arts and humanity, or Department of Communications. So design is everywhere here. And it's not just a one-siloed discipline, but it is a driving force for transdisciplinary activities.
Oh, I see. That is unique, I think. And is it related to design thinking, or how do you teach design in the 10 departments?
All right. So I first have to visit each of the courses, but yeah, I couldn't do that yet. But one thing I can tell you is in my course, the students are from many different, so I have many students from different departments. So this year I'm teaching a course called Human Factors and Inclusive Design, and over 70% of students are from different departments. They are from information science, they are from studying economics or other areas of the study. So that is pretty fascinating because they also want to know that how the knowledge or scientific knowledge they develop could be made, how they could be made more accessible and also more concrete, because the knowledge itself is not a tangible thing. It's still abstract. But they want to develop something that really embodies their knowledge in a meaningful way for the intended users or consumers. So I think that the desire of students, so okay, how I could make things that I study actionable or made it tangible so that we can make the real impact. So I think that has been one of the main reasons for why students are studying design or using design as a leverage.
Okay, to concrete their ideas in a potential solution. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting because then I assume that you have some challenges. I don't know. You have some challenges when you teach do you teach design to non-designers? What are the pros and cons, or how do you feel about that experience?
So teaching designers, design students and the non-design students together in my course. And what are the challenges? Now, I have been seeing the bright side of being multidisciplinary. So it brought lots of new opportunities to course. So there has been some synergies. Students know they are learning new languages. So how I could best communicate with the people from different disciplinary backgrounds. And also they are coming with different skills. So our students would be able to contribute as designers, but there are also some other students bringing new ideas, new perspectives, their expertise on, for example, business, their expertise on engineering, their expertise on psychological aspects of intended users. So I have seen lots of synergies. And of course, as you mentioned, there might be some challenges. But I think there are so many advantages over disadvantages. Some of the challenges might be no, it's really about learning how to work together. So I cannot say that is a challenge, but that is one of the learning process. And we all know that outside campus, when we actually work as in practice as a professional, we are not going to work alone. Anyway, we are going to work with other stakeholders or other product development teams, engineers, marketers, consumer researchers. So we are, our students just start that real experience, earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's one semester or 1 year course?
It's a 1 semester course. So,
okay.
This semester I teach one course, and in fourth semester, but in the spring semester I teach two courses. So in total I teach 3 courses per year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is something that some schools are trying to do, but in your university is already happening.
Yeah.
What I mean is to connect designers with students from other disciplines. So that is something that we're trying to do here at UNAM, but hasn't been working that well. So that is why I am so excited about your experience. So it's really nice, Jay.
Yeah.
And just to complete a last question related to it, do they work in teams, and then what activities they do? Or if you can give me more details of the activities that they do.
All right. So in my course, I have one individual component and also one group component. So there is one individual project. So students should work on a project on their own. But that really reveals what kind of strengths they possess and what kind of weakness they possess. And students present their work to the other students in class. So people also know that, okay, what is going to be, how I could benefit from working with that person, or how we could create a good team, because their response to the project brief might be totally different depending on their expertise. But that really reveals the benefits of being, I say that, yeah, the benefit of having people with different skills and also interest. And then there is one group project, and then I ask students to form a group of a team. So in this semester, yeah, having a team of 5 or 6 students, and then I ask them, all right, so you guys need to just make sure that this is a project, and then think about what kind of skills, what kind of resources you may need to perform well and to develop the deliverables successfully. And then students think about things that they may need, and then now start looking for the people they could work with. So they form a group together, and then naturally it becomes a multidisciplinary team, because they know that they cannot handle the issue alone. So having a team, and then there might be 6 designers, they know that that is not going to work. No, there should be a different person, and we need the contribution of people, diverse people. So helping students realize that necessity and also potential benefits, and guiding them to form that group on their own. So that has been my way of teaching.
Okay. It sounds really interesting and positive. And in terms of, well, another question related to your teaching. Do you also teach to design students only?
No, yeah, but I have, as I said, yeah, over, I don't know, I think between 50 and 70% of my students are from different departments. So there are many design students. They are a dominant group, but there are also other students from multiple departments. Okay.
So in all your courses, then you have students from all the different departments.
Yeah, but I think partly due to the fact that my course is an elective course.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I teach a mandatory course or compulsory course, then it might be different.
Okay. And based on your experience in teaching these courses, do you think that the design students have a particular preferences for a specific design approaches?
One thing I recently noticed is Yeah, I think that their interest in the approaches that they use that has evolved and changed over time. Some years ago, students wanted to, for example, to produce or generate objective data. So, all right, so then I should not be part of that conversation. So I should stay away and then try to avoid myself being involved in a certain situation. So I should just observe and then use a third person perspective. But at the same time, so that was where that approach was okay when students looked at some conventional issues, design issues like the ergonomics or usability. So they know, okay, how many errors a user would make, or how comfortable it is, or can a person perform this task or not, or how long it would take to get it done. So, or measuring or collecting some biometric data. So, okay, if the person is sweating or not, or if the person's heart rate is racing or not. So that means that the person might be anxious or maybe stressed out. So people, our students really wanted to use that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they also realized that perhaps that might be not the entire picture. So there are some subjective experiences, and that objective data might be not always reliable. So our students started looking at how I could use how I could generate and collect more intimate, rich, and vivid data on the lived experience. So that was pretty interesting. And then students started using their own reflection and sharing their own stories and using role plays, for example, and then talk about how they felt when they were in that fictional situation. And I think, yeah, so, and also how they could use this so-called first-person perspective approach, how they could use it in a constructive way and not making it too abstract, and also how they could use it together with the third-person perspective approaches. So yeah, now I see these two things happening at the same time together. And our students are trying to avoid over-scientify design as a research, I'd say research discipline. Yeah. And also, yeah. And in the end, we want to generate useful insights out of these research activities. And so now students are more interested in how we could make it more inspirational and practical. So yeah, that's pretty interesting to see.
Yes, it reminds me the cultural probes approach, which is also for inspiration, not for performing or undertaking research.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there are two. Yeah, each approach has different values, but students really wants to have a complete overview and also comparative overview of these two approaches and use them in a relevant way in their project.
And that happens the bachelor's degree or in the postgraduate program?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really nice. And now I would like to know your perspective in how design is evolving.
Wow, how design is evolving. Now, maybe one of the easiest ways for us to explain how design is evolving might be, when we observe how design students, designers, or academics explain who they are or what they do. So because we see that many years ago, designers, they said that, okay, are you an industrial designer? Are you a communication designer? Are you a visual communication designer? Are you a graphic designer? Or are you even one medium focus, like a mobile interface designer or web designer or service designer? And then now what I see is that, people rarely introduce themselves as based on things they produce. So it's not really based on the final outcome, as I said. So we can make a lot of different examples, like furniture design, chair design, or lighting design. But now people are talking about the values they want to convey by means of design. So I design for environmental sustainability. I design for healthcare, particularly focusing on prevention of obesity, for example. I look at the contribution of design to mental health of young adults. And for example, and then they are saying that, I'm particularly looking at the affective experience of those intended groups. So it has become more about the values that we want to address. And I think that is really inevitable. When we look at these values, then we also realize that we need to be multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary, because addressing one of these values requires us to be equipped with multiple skills and knowledge. So, we may need to work with clinical researchers. We may need to work with researchers focusing on climate changes, for example. So, when we look at this purpose, then we also realize that we cannot solve this problem ourselves. We just need to join the force.
Okay. And that brings me to another question, because you have, based on your experience and your teaching skills, you have been discussing a lot multidisciplinary work, transdisciplinary work. How do you see that, or do you see that those ways of working are involved or taking part of design education?
Yeah, so, well, that's a really important question. Yes, it's already part of design education. So it has been implicit, at the same time explicit. So as I said, when students are situated in a project that requires multiple skills and expertise, then anyway, they get to know how to work with people from different backgrounds. So it's more implicit. But at the same time, we teach how we teach product development process, and it already reveals its complexity, and it really reveals how things are working, and it requires people from different departments, different expertise. So we also teach it on a knowledge level, at the same time in a project level. no, knowledge level, no, that doesn't sound right, but yeah, you know what I mean. So,
Yes.
but at the same time, also we realized that, yeah, we have really limited time in the end. So we really focus on the breadth, but what about depth? Because, yeah, yeah, Juan and me, when we were a college student, really long time ago, and we really focused on how to say that, how we could perfect the product. And we were responsible for the traditional design decisions, the size, the appearance, the selection of the materials, or even experimenting with different materials to find the right one. And at the time, yeah, we were also busy too. And then now when we look at our students, the next generation of students, they don't have time. There are so many things they should be able to handle. So being able to prototype, being able to fabricate, being able to run experimental studies, that means that they should be also be good at statistics analysis. And it's quite different from our time. So they should know a lot of things. They should be able to handle many different things. But then does it give them the freedom to choose what they actually want to do? Or do they have time to advance their skills as we did in our generation? So that's also, yeah, that raises a lot of questions actually. So should we go for the depth or should we go for breadth? Or can these two be pursued together in a balanced way? If so, how could we do that? So yeah, that is one of, I also have that question too, because when students end their education as a bachelor student, now at the end of the fourth year, then yeah, perhaps they may say that, yeah, the program was really good, but I think I still need some more time to be prepared enough. So yeah, so that's a really important question. So I wish I had a good answer, but these two should be pursued together, and time is the enemy.
Yes, indeed. And I was thinking, based on your answer, because, for example, if we become design researchers, then we develop particular skills such as statistical analysis. But for a bachelor designer or a student who is in a bachelor degree and he wants to become a designer, from your perspective, what are those basic skills that they have to develop in order to become a designer?
Yeah, this goes back to the previous question regarding how design has evolved or where it is heading toward. There are so many I said that, yeah, so people are really focusing on purpose or values that they want to address through design. So even a bachelor student, they would say that, yeah, I really want to focus on the psychological well-being of users. And then that becomes the targeted impact. They could generate many good concepts, but they will be curious about if their design has the actual impact on the psychological well-being of users. as they intended, or would there be any surprise? That means that they should be able to evaluate their design. And then again, that goes back to some advanced skills. So qualitative data analysis, quantitative data analysis, sometimes combined together. So even if a bachelor student should be able to handle that, because in the end, it's really about the impact that they want to generate out of their design activities. And then I'd say that, all right, so you might have a different impact of interest. It could be psychological well-being, it could be sustainability, or it could be business impact. Yeah, you name it. There are many different things. And then the required skills will be always different. That will be altered by the interest. So designers should be able to overcome the fear of learning something new. And the important skills that they will need to develop is how I could learn. So there are learning strategies. So knowing how to learn, that is going to be the most important skill. So yeah, things changed a lot. So when I studied as a bachelor student, there was no smartphone, or there was, and also things I used that didn't exist at that time. So we are surrounded by new challenges, some technologies or some new societal challenges. So there are so many things that we need to know. And then, yeah, these will face, yeah, these are the challenges facing our next generation of designers. So they should know how to learn effectively and in a more strategic way.
Okay, so yes, I agree with that. And that brings me to one of my last questions, because as you said, things change rapidly. And one thing that is happening right now, and it's like very well known, is artificial intelligence. So I would like to know if in your department or university, you are trying to connect design with AI, and how are you doing that?
I'm not an AI expert, so I can share some of my observations. So yeah, some design researchers develop AI technologies on their own for their own research purpose. This is one direction. The other direction is some people just utilize AI technologies for their own business. So I see that our students also use AI as a tool in their project. So for example, they are using generative models to produce mood board or to produce user scenarios. So there are many new tools available to use for students. So they actively experiment, right? How I could generate these images, or how I could generate some visual representations of a certain atmosphere, and or how I could show how a certain technology or design solution can be utilized, and how that could be used by one single person, or when that is used by multiple people, then would there be any different scenarios? So students are creating text, paragraphs, and stories by using this. And I think I see, and I think it's really natural for them to use, I would say. So it's nothing new. So it has been around, even though it's relatively recent, but yeah, for young designers, yeah, so that has been around for recent 2 or 3 years. So yeah, I think now they're experimenting it, and yeah, that's also pretty interesting to see. So it became a tool for students.
Okay. Well, we haven't seen that happening in Mexico, so maybe we'll have a look at what you are doing or how they are using, because at least I teach at bachelor's level, but I don't see that happening. But it's really interesting what you are telling me. Okay, I have a last question, Jay, which is in some way you have answered it, but I would like to have a synthesis of your different perspectives, which is related to what design challenges do you foresee for the coming years, at least in terms of design education?
Wow. Yeah, again, I would just go back to my previous answer, finding a good balance between disciplinary depth and breadth. Yeah, it's really important. Yeah, so design challenges that we are dealing with, so that has changed. So yeah, we were asked to make a chair so long time ago, but now we are asked to talk about how we could reserve or mitigate health, or how we could address health equity, and it can design contribute to that problem, or how could we make how could we yeah, there are many different examples. For example, yeah, can we create team bonding? Can you strengthen it in the area, even for people working from home? So these societal challenges has become one of the design problems that we try to address nowadays. So yeah, things have, yeah, the nature of the problems that we are handling has changed. It means that, yeah, we also, our skills should change too. And that means that the education should change too.
Yes.
And the things are, and also it became multidisciplinary. And yeah, I have seen so many studies saying that, yeah, designers should be taught this way, that way. And if you introduce this way of teaching, then you will improve that area or that area. But yeah, I also haven't seen many work telling us, okay, when goes wrong and when goes well regarding when we are teaching students from multiple backgrounds in a design course. So there are so many things that we need to study. So yeah, some pedagogical challenges are there too.
Yes, I agree in many ways with what you are saying, because in Mexico, we are also seeing that, at least in Mexico, as you know, there are many societal challenges that in some way, or some designers think that we can contribute, not create solutions, but work with other disciplines in order to create new solutions.
Yeah. So yeah, it seems, yeah, people know how to do that, but I think that experience and the knowledge is still very implicit and very tacit. And yeah, I hope that could be shared with many design educators and many design students so that, yeah, we can just work towards the same goal together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Jay. So that was my last question. I don't know if you have a final comment.
Yeah. I think as these are really important questions and our answers may change maybe soon. So next year, if we meet again, and then yeah, if we use the same questions, then our answers are going to be totally different. And I think that is the beauty of design as a discipline, because it evolves together with the evolvement of other disciplines. And also the challenges design addresses, that changes too. So yeah, I hope we could continue and then continue this conversation maybe next year again, or maybe after following that. And then we may compare how we responded these questions, because we will see, yeah, clear differences.
Yes, and maybe we already have some answers to the issues that you already pointed out.
Yeah.
So I agree. Thank you very much, Jay.
All right, it's very nice to chat with you.
It was our pleasure.
Yeah.
So,
right. So now then, should I just end the chat, or what should I do? Should I
we can just conclude. Yes, we can just conclude the interview, and we'll get in touch soon.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jay. Bye.